Hi, I'm Kristen with an E, and this is Talk with Kristen with an E, a place to slow down, be honest without having all the answers, and feel a little less alone together. Let's talk it out. Hey, everybody, welcome back and welcome to the first episode of season 3 of Talk with Kristen with an E. I am very excited about this season. As I mentioned when I closed season 2, which was a little bit shorter than I'd planned, I talked about how I was going to take some downtime over the holidays and record some content and get ready for season 3. And I did. And here we are. And it's even more exciting because I got to record with some good friends. I'm trying to do video now, which is a little bit of a learning curve, but we're getting there. And there's so many exciting things about season 3. But before we dive into all the goodness that season 3 is, I thought it would be fun to take a little bit of time and kind of look back on season 1 and 2, which is kind of more season 1.5, but look at the themes we covered then and kind of what we learned from it and where we are now. And I say we, like, we're the collective, like we've learned these things together and we're at the same place. I realize we're not. Maybe we are. I hope that you have learned some of the things that I have learned also, and that we are both growing and becoming better people. But this is more about kind of my journey and what I learned in the past year and what I've learned from the podcast and different relationships that I have made from the podcast and just kind of where we're at now to starting point for season 3. So what I did was I wrote down a whole bunch of kind of like just gobbledygook of where we were. And I wrote some of the key themes of the episodes we've covered, recap what we talked about then, what we learned, again, what I talked about, what I learned, and maybe how you're applying it to your life as I share with how I'm using it in mine. So it has been a year now since my podcast launched. I remember excited and I felt like 2/5/25 was such a cool day. I'm like, my podcast is launching 2/5/25. This year as exciting of a date because I wanted to keep releasing things on Wednesdays. So it's not as jazzy as that. But looking back in a whole year of where I was this time last year, being really nervous and scared, not just about the podcast, but about life and all the insecurities and just mental drama I was mostly probably creating on my own and how I dealt with that. So if you remember, we had the trailer and then the first episode was about burnout. Actually, the first 2 episodes were burnout and boundaries. And those were issues that were so intense, mostly with work. And my friend Laura, one of my dearest and best friends, Laura, was the guest on those episodes. And she talked about the different parts of stress buckets and how knowing when your bucket was too full and how to let go of it and kind of how to deal with burnout. And while it was easy to talk about what burnout was and how to fix it, it was not easy in real life to fix. And that's why the boundaries episode followed up with it was so good too, is really kind of understanding where your limitations are, how to build those boundaries, how to know like when to say no and how to say no, and not just saying no, but being comfortable with it. And I am going to tell you, if you listen to season 1 and season 2, you know that was a recurring struggle for me. Being able to say no, being able to put those boundaries. I mean, I could make boundaries, but keeping them in place and kind of staying true to them was not as easy. I am proud to say that I have made it quite a long way. So for 2026, my phrase at work has been peace over chaos. Last year at work was very, very, very hard. And hard is not even really the best word for it. It was challenging, scary, it was complicated, it was a lot. It was a lot. And a lot of that is the reason why season 2 was as short as it was. There was a lot going on. And by the end of the year, like November, December, I was just, such a mess. And I realized that a lot of it was me, but so much of it was from other people too. And I'm not placing the blame anywhere, but this is going to explain to you why peace over chaos has become such a mantra with me now. I realized that there wasn't a lot of critical thinking. Something would come in, people would spiral, and then send it to somebody else who would then spiral. And then suddenly you have multiple people spiraling, possibly working on the same task or the same task slightly differently, or just chaos. It was literal chaos. Every day was oh, what grand chaos is going to be today? And I don't mean grand like a good thing. I mean grand like, what is this? So over the holidays, having some time to reflect, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I am not getting sucked into other people's drama. I am not spiraling with them. I am not taking every urgent task that, let's be honest, 8 times out of 10 is probably not an emergency or urgent at all. I am not getting stuck into that. Everything's an urgent. Everything's an emergency. Everything needs to be done right now. I can't. I cannot do that anymore. So that's where peace over chaos really stemmed from. It's a conscious choice where when something does come in, whether it's a phone call or an email or a chat or somebody stopping by my office and saying, oh my gosh, Kristen, we have to do this. It has to be done by close of business. And let's take a step back and let's say, okay, what actually needs to be done? What's the intent of it? When is it due? Why is it due that time? And realistically, what can we really do about it? So it's what I like to call critical thinking. And instead of just jumping through hoops and sometimes flaming hoops, let's just take a step back because nothing is that important. It's just not. Okay, there are things that are clearly if I was working I don't know, in an emergency room or a war zone or I don't know, one of those jobs where you're really saving people's lives. Okay, maybe there are more emergencies. There is not in my job or in my current field. No emergencies that warrant that kind of chaos. So peace over chaos. And I'm going to talk about this a lot more. I'm so into peace over chaos. I tell it to everybody. And if somebody calls me and they're spiraling, I say, okay, peace over chaos. And I have said enough to some people that they know exactly what I mean as soon as I say it. There's other people I am still working on. I have a friend from work. This happened a couple weeks ago, and she was calling about something and something needed to get done. I made a call and we got it done. It was fine. And I called her after the fact and said, hey, let's take a moment to reflect on this. When this all happened, did you choose peace or did you choose chaos? And she said, it was problem solving, Kristen. I said, okay, let's try this again. Was it peace or was it chaos? And she was stuck on the fact that she didn't have time to choose peace. She just had to get it done. And I said, okay, well, we're going to work on this. It's peace over chaos and we can work on this together. And I'm probably at the point too where I'm a little annoying about it. But I feel like that's kind of what you have to do with some people to get it through their heads is peace over chaos. And I had told one of my supervisors, I said, hey, I just want to let you know going into this year, I'm really working on peace over chaos for me. And she's like, oh, I don't send every email I get. I am very, very cautious about what I send to people. And I was like, no. I get it. I was telling you this is for me so I could manage your expectations. So if you're not getting a response from me as soon as you think you should or as fast as you think you should, that you know where I'm coming from. And she was like, oh, thank you for letting me know. And then later, she was in a meeting and she's like, well, Kristen told me I need to take my Zen pills. I never once told her to take Zen pills, but the fact that that's how she translated what I shared with her still meant something. This is managing up, people, which is a skill that I am still working on. For her to kind of translate what I'm working on for myself as a way that she can work on it for herself is kind of a big deal. So I will keep you posted as the year goes on. But for now, we are choosing peace over chaos. And I would encourage you to do the same. So we talked about burnout and boundaries. We talked about books, and we talked about with Alexis what we were looking forward to reading in 2025, some of our goals. I'm not going to talk about that right now because there is an upcoming episode where Alexis and I kind of go over all of our reading of 2025 and what we're looking forward to in 2026 and what we're reading going forward. And it's a really fun episode, whether you love reading or you're just getting into reading and you're looking for some suggestions. There's going to be a couple more episodes too, where we break down one of our favorite authors, and another episode about book talk and how it's influenced publishing. It's an episode you may want to listen to. We'll see. But books will be another topic. And last year too, we had a whole book club where we read a book together and got together and discuss it and got input from listeners. And we might do that again. I've toyed around. I've gone back and forth books that I think that would be good for it, that would also kind of translate well to podcasting. So no determinations there yet, but stay tuned. So then we talked a lot about body stuff, and we talked about weight, we talked about beauty and aging, and we talked about, those are kind of the big things we talked about that. So if you remember, and if not, you can go back. All of these episodes are still out there. So you can go back and listen to any of them anytime to get caught up on what we actually talked about. But the weight one, I had talked about my weight struggles over the years, and I went from being a super skinny mini to not, and how I struggled with, even when I was skinny, feeling like I was too fat, to then being fat and struggling with, is this okay? Is this not okay? And going back and forth with, again, diet culture and all of that, and body positivity, and like, this is fine. I am who I am. It's a struggle. And again, encourage you to go back and listen to that episode if you feel so inclined, because I do believe it is still an issue for a lot of people, myself included. But 2026 is the year of loving Kristen. And that sounds very like egotistical and silly, I guess, when I say it, but hopefully when I explain it a little bit more, it'll make more sense. I've struggled with my weight and my view of my weight for years. And I did go back and forth with starving myself, accepting myself, not really. And it was hard. So 2026, it kind of just got to the point where I was like, I am done with this. I am done with focusing on my weight. I am done looking at the scale. I am done judging my body against other people's bodies. I am done. Well, we're working on that one. I'm done with feeling like I'm the fat friend, even if I am. But I can't look at that, because I had a really hard time with that even last year, even after recording. Like, again, 2025, not a great year, you guys. I would see pictures of me with my friend group and be like, yeah, there's Kristen, the fat friend. You know, that movie that came out, it's not even going to say how many years, because it was probably longer than I think it was. The Duff, the designated ugly fat friend. Like, this is not a self-pity thing. Like, guys, don't feel bad for me. I promise there is like, there's a promising ending of this story. But that's how I felt last year. And I was like, yeah, there I am. I'm the fat friend, whatever. And it was hard for me to feel like I didn't fit in. I did. To feel like they were judging me. They probably weren't. And feeling like, like I wasn't good enough because I was bigger than everybody else. And it was really hard for a very long time, because I felt like everybody was judging me. Like, everybody was looking at me and be like, oh, there's Kristen. She's so huge. She's so whatever. Again, this isn't a feel sorry for me moment, because 2026 Kristen is over that. I have bought more clothes that fit me better, that I feel confident in, and I am dressing for the body I have, because there is no point in trying to fight to get a different body, or to just hate my body. Like, and you've heard it all the time, right? Like, oh, just love the skin you're in. Oh, yes, you should. But everybody has to get to that point on their own. And nobody's going to force you to do it. And it has to be that realization of, I love the way I do. Like, would I also love myself if I were a size 4? Absolutely. I would. However, there's parts of my body that I may not have if I were smaller. And those are some of my best features. And even the parts of my body that I really thought I didn't love, changing my perspective on it to actually love it has, again, just built my confidence. I don't know how else to explain it. And again, like, it's not like I'm some cocky person just walking around, like, flaunting my body all the time. Like, I love my body. I don't need anybody else to love my body. And that's kind of where I'm at, which, again, is a huge swing from where we were last year, because I literally thought people were looking at me all the time and judging me based on what I looked like. There probably are some people that are. Like, I get it. I'm a shallow, superficial person myself. So I accept that there are going to be those people doing that. I don't care. Like, there's so many bigger things in life and so many more important things to worry about that it doesn't matter anymore. So that's kind of where I am with that one. Another thing, and I wasn't sure where in the episode I was going to talk about this part, but it feels like a fitting place. So I don't know if you saw in January, people were kind of getting on that 2016 trend, and it was like sharing pictures of you from 2016 and talking about where you were a decade ago. And I didn't remember 2016. Like, I didn't have any standout memories. I didn't have any big life moments or huge occasions that defined anything. I don't remember 2016. And as I started going through looking at pictures, I realized why I didn't remember 2016. 2016 was not a great year, and different from how I say 2025 wasn't a great year in different aspects. And maybe I'll share the pictures on my Instagram too. 2016 for me, as I was going through the pictures, was a lot of LuLaRoe, like so many leggings. I had so many leggings and pictures. I had pictures of leggings I wanted to buy, pictures of leggings that I was trying to find, pictures of me trying on leggings because I would go to the LuLaRoe parties. Like, there was a lot of LuLaRoe. And then Urban Decay. It was like the peak of my Urban Decay obsession, which also there was an episode about makeup in season 1 and my time as a beauty blogger. Great episode. Feel free to go back to that one too. But then I remember, like, oh, it was the year of those matte liquid lipsticks that were phenomenal, that honestly I would still wear now, even if they're not, in fashion, because I loved, like, the fact it didn't come off. It was just a bold color. I loved them. 2016 was also the skinniest I had been since before having a child. It was the skinniest I'd been probably, it had been a long time. And the pictures I had were fantastic. Like, I looked so hot. Like, for real, you guys, like, I was so hot. But I didn't get there the right way. Like, I also wasn't eating at all. I was working out a lot from 2015 and probably into early 2016 too. It was not a healthy way to lose weight. And I was not mentally in a good place. And in all the pictures, like, I'm smiling and I'm so happy because, again, I got down to 173, which probably doesn't mean anything to anybody. And for a girl who was like 127 in high school, it was still huge. But it was such a big deal for me. And looking back at the pictures, it just made me sad. For several reasons that I'm not going to get into all of them now. I just wanted to bring it up as it brought up, as I talked about the weight and accepting who I am now, is that even when I was at my skinniest, I wasn't happy. So that kind of solidified that, like, I'm choosing to be happy. And if I can be happy I share a lot with you. I get very vulnerable. I am still not okay saying the weight. Let's just say it's significantly more than 173. And I'm okay with it. Not okay enough to tell you, but I'm okay with it to accept my body and to love the body that I have. Okay, so we also talked about when it came to the beauty stuff is a hair. And I had a whole episode with Alexis and talked about all the different things I had done to my hair and how I had shaved my hair off, sort of Britney Spears style, not once, but twice, and how it had been like almost every color under the rainbow except for green. I'm not doing green hair. And this year, well, it started into 2025. I decided I was going to go on my gray journey and just grow my hair out. And if you're watching the video of this, you can see it's like all white in the front and it's gray underneath and it's kind of a little bit everywhere. It's not like as pretty as some of those people who go like all silver and like their hair is just gorgeous. We're not there yet, but this is a process. I am trusting the process and I'm going to see what happens. Maybe I'll hate it. Maybe I'll shave it all off again. Maybe I'll go back to dyeing it. But I'm trying it because along with loving the body I'm in, I'm also trying to love the hair I have. I'm wearing it wavy a whole lot more now. I'd gone through like religiously straightening my hair, and then I was curling it every day, and then I was doing those overnight curlers, which really lazy girl's way of curling hair. Phenomenal. Highly recommend. Like, I already have curly hair. Now it's kind of like, whatever. But I have wavy to curly hair depending on the products and how I style it. So I was like, you know what? This is also the year that I am going natural. So I have not dyed my hair since March of 2025. So we will soon be coming up on a whole year. I don't know how long it has to go to grow the whole way out. I've trimmed my hair a little bit here and there. Oh yeah, because I'm also cutting my own hair now because why not? Self-reliant. That's what I am. So we'll see. So I'm doing that. I did get red light therapy. So, my wrinkles are at bay. I'm just being naturally me. And I've talked a lot of season one. I talked about authenticity and just being who you are and being who I am and all the things. And I am. If and when you watch any of the video podcasts, you will see I don't have any makeup on. Most of my recordings, I don't have makeup on, or it's like makeup I had on during the day for work that it's whatever's left over. Sometimes I'm wearing my glasses. Today, authentically me. I spilled taco sauce at dinner, and then I tried to clean it off, and then I just had a whole wet spot, and then it was a whole thing. This is who I am, you guys. I'm kind of a messy eater, but that's fine. It's another part of who I am. So let's see. What else did we talk about? Oh, purity culture. That was a hard episode to record. Full disclosure, I have not gone back and listened to it ever because I think it's embarrassing. But it is the episode that I have gotten the most comments on. It was not the most listened to episode of season one. That was the Burnout one. But I have gotten the most comments on my purity culture one, with women thanking me, telling me that, it's something they also struggled with how they were raised, specifics of what people told me. But it made me realize that it really was important that I record that episode. So update on that. I have become more open with talking about sex, which is still a little outside my comfort zone. There are certain friends I will talk to about it. You know who you are, and just trying to be more open about it. Also, having more sex, because apparently the way to fix not wanting to have sex ever is to just do it all the time. TMI, perhaps, but also there may be somebody out there who needs to know that. So if you're uncomfortable with your body, or if you just don't feel sexy and not feeling sexy makes you want to not have sex, you just have to do it. I don't know if that's great advice. And maybe it sounds silly. And again, maybe this is being too vulnerable with you all. But, and I don't know if this is a chicken or egg thing, like which one came first, but loving my body more makes me feel more sexy, which makes me more willing to have more sex. Having more sex and feeling loved makes me love my body more. I don't know what the advice is there. I'm just sharing my experience with you all. So there you go. We talked a lot a lot about friendship. And we talked about friendship a lot because this is something as an adult I have struggled with forever. Forever may be extreme, but it feels like it. I've never had a hard time making friends. I'm so fun. People are just drawn to me. I make friends very easily. Acquaintances. I make acquaintances very easily. And as I talked about in one of the episodes last year, maybe more, I don't remember, is that I have a hard time getting past the shallow part of friendships. I am the social friend. I will go do things with you. I will go shopping with you. I'll get coffee with you. I will sit and talk with you. I will ask you all about your life. I will care about you a lot. I will not tell you very much about myself, which is ironic as I tell you, the listener, so much about my life that you probably don't even care about. But I have a really hard time opening to other people. Probably because I just assume that eventually everybody is going to decide they hate me and not want to be my friend anymore. And if I don't open up to them, then I'm not hurt. Like if I stop being friends with somebody or somebody stops being friends with me, that's fine. I didn't lose anything because I didn't open myself enough to lose anything. Not a great way to make lasting friendships, which is why I have so few of them. So I really tried to focus last year about making more friends, and not even making more friends, but making more meaningful relationships and more meaningful friendships. And I don't remember which episode it was in, but there was an episode in season 1 where I was talking about like, how do you just make new friends? You're like, hi, do you want to be my friend? And I had talked about how one of my son's friends' moms, and I had kept saying about how like, oh, we should hang out. Oh, and I had said, I remember because I got very close to the microphone. I was like, Jenny, if you're out there, yes, I do want to get coffee. So Jenny heard it, reached out, we got coffee, and I consider her one of my really good friends now. I really appreciate her. I've invited her to my parties. She's in my close circle of friends now. I've gone to party at her house. And then in season 2, with the episodes when we were talking about letting go of social media and how I went on and on about how I wanted life to be like in the 50s or the 40s, like when you would just get together with your girlfriends and sip tea and talk about the going ons of things and writing letters and why don't people write letters anymore. And then Jenny wrote me letters and we became pen pals. And we have exchanged a number of letters up until over the holidays. And we're still waiting to get back into everything and start writing again. And it was huge. Like it was such an amazing thing because I didn't know she was going to do it. And all of a sudden I got a letter and I was like, and then I wrote back to her and then she wrote back to me. And it's different. I mean, we'll still text each other, but the stuff in the letters is a different level of what we're talking about and things we're sharing and then just building on that friendship. So Jenny, if you're out there, thank you for getting coffee with me and thank you for becoming one of my best friends since 2025 to present. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with you more. Yay. And it wasn't just Jenny. There have been other people. My friend Greta, she will randomly message me and be like, want to get a drink? And we'll just go to the little bar in our neighborhood and meet up, usually on a Friday after work and kind of talk about what's gone on that week. It's little things like that where it's not really putting in a lot of effort, but there's a lot to come out of it. And I think out of all the things I talked about in friendship and how to make friends and how to keep friends and how hard long distance friendship is, you have to be willing to open yourself and allow the people who want to know you to get to know you. I think that's the moral of the story. And that's what I've been working on since those episodes. And then self-acceptance. So there was an episode of that we had towards the end of season 1. And I feel like that does kind of just encompass everything that I've been talking about today about accepting who I am, accepting, even the peace over chaos is kind of an acceptance, except, you can't do everything. It's not possible. And you've got to know your limits and put those boundaries in place for those limits so that you don't get burnout. Choosing peace over chaos is one of those. And accepting my body, accepting my size, where I am in life, like accepting all of that is just, it's freeing. Like there is no other word that I can think of is just, I feel free. I don't know. I think for a while I was judging myself on so many areas too. And I was kind of hindering my own growth because I had this vision of what I thought I was supposed to be. And every time I didn't meet that vision, I felt like I was failing. That's something we can talk about in season 3 because that's not something I've mastered yet. But self acceptance was huge. And then season 2, as I mentioned, we talked about social media and letting go of that and getting out and touching grass. And this was one of the big goals I had for 2026 also was less screen time, which everybody says, right? But I am really working on limiting my social media because it's not good for anybody. I have a system now where I check it, in the morning and evening. I check notifications, and then I check like just my friends on Facebook, and I'll scroll just a little bit on Instagram just to kind of see what's there. But I'm not getting stuck in the doom scrolling anymore. And, maybe that's why I'm feeling better in 2026 also, because I'm not seeing everybody else's life and comparing myself to them. And now I'm just focused on me, which again sounds so like cocky, like, oh, it's all about me. But you know what? It is, because it's my life. Why shouldn't it be all about me and my husband and my son? You know what I mean, right? Like focusing on other people's lives and what they're doing and what they've got going on and what they're posting really has no effect on me at all. Like it doesn't change what I'm doing. Like it's just noise. And I think getting rid of the noise and just focusing on me and my life, my family, my job, like things that I value, I'm able to do more without the distractions. And then we talked about seasons of change and then resilience towards the end of season 2. And it's funny because, in the example that I used in the resilience episode was about how my son didn't make a team, or, when I didn't get promoted when I thought I should have, or, didn't get parts in plays and all the things that I didn't get. And then 2025 was interesting because I did get something that wasn't sure I wanted. And I thought I would do a whole episode on this, and I never did. I don't know if I will or not. But in 2025, I got a new job I didn't ask for, new job I hadn't technically applied to. It was I don't want to say better. It was a different job than I was in. I was selected because of the skills I had. It was a good thing. It wasn't because I was demoted or fired or anything. It was a positive thing. I struggled for a while to see it as a positive thing. I felt that I was being put in a position that I wasn't ready for. Looking back now was silly because I think I'm doing pretty good at it. The point is, it was interesting seeing resilience from another side when it wasn't something that I didn't get that I had to learn and grow from, that it was something that I actually got, still had to learn and learn and grow from. But I guess it kind of was like losing my other job. Again, not losing, but moving on to this new one. And at a time I wasn't expecting, because usually when I apply for a job, it's kind of like I'm ready to move on and I'm ready to leave where I'm at. Wasn't ready to leave where I was, that there was still things I wanted to accomplish, people that I cared about, that I wanted to see accomplish more things. And I felt because it wasn't on my timeline, I wasn't ready. It was a growth experience. And honestly, I think it's probably led to some of the self-acceptance and self-confidence, also showing that I took on this thing that I didn't think I was going to be able to do, and I'm doing it. So, and the other thing I thought that I would mention very briefly, towards the end of season 1, I talked about 10 things I'm loving. And a lot of them I still am, especially the Oklahoma City Thunder. I've said this a couple of times, and I feel like I have to keep saying it so that I can manifest it and make it happen. I want to get Mark Dagnall on my podcast so badly. Like so I watch the games. Also, my husband teases me because like I live in a house of boys and I'm the one there watching the games all the way through the press conferences. It's my favorite part. At the end of the game, they'll interview Mark first, and then they usually interview Shay, Chet, sometimes J-Dub. I mean, the third one is kind of a toss-up. Depends on who had a good game or who had something big going on, but they always talk to Mark first. And the stuff he says in interviews, I've shared a couple on my Instagram. It's just, I feel like it is not just geared towards basketball or sports or coaching, that they are literal life lessons. How he talks about the 0-0 mentality, you're starting fresh every time. How he talks about the basketball season as a whole, 82 games, and you just play the one that you're at right now. The system and how you have the system, and when people know the system and they have the common goal, they all want to win, they work together. There's just so many things that I see overlapping from how Mark runs his coaching aspect of the team and things that I have learned from both leadership courses I've been to and from my master's program. There's so many overlaps, and I want to talk to him about his leadership style and how he got there, his philosophy, and make those connections of how what he uses to coach basketball players is also relatable in the business world or in corporate America or probably in teaching in schools and other places. There are universal truths that I think the world should know about. And I don't care what you think about basketball. Like, there's just more to it. I love watching how he coaches. I love watching how he talks about coaching. I love how he talks about his players. So if anybody has any connection to the Oklahoma City Thunder program or to Mark, let him know. I understand he's a busy man. We're probably going to playoffs again. We'll probably... I don't know. I'm not going to make any predictions because the season's been kind of a little touch and go right now as I'm recording. But that is my plan for this podcast, is someday I will talk to Mark. That's that. There was a lot. I know there was a lot, but I felt like we had to level set where we were in season 1, kind of how we had our little season 2 little moment, and now going into season 3 where we are. There's probably still some insecurities, but I don't focus on them because, again, it's kind of like the social media noise. It doesn't do anything to benefit me. Just full steam ahead. And I hope that you will join me on this journey. So there's a lot to look forward to in season 3. As of right now, as I'm recording this, I am still planning on doing an every other week episode just because I don't want to get too bogged down. So there'll still be content. There'll be stuff. You can reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. You can email me. It's out there too. And of course, listen to podcasts anywhere you get podcasts. And now you can watch me on YouTube too and feel like we're even more connected. Thanks for joining me on this journey. And I can't wait to see everything else we talk about. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for spending this time with me. I hope this conversation made you feel a little less alone. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk with you soon.